Hello, this is Fashion REBElution, and we are fashion rebels that see upcycling clothes as a solution to the fast fashion habit. And we want to welcome any fashion designers out there to join our team and create and upcycle and grow with us. And our mission is, we're a support group. Our mission is just to support each other in making any way we can, every way we can. There are 3 ways you can participate in this group. One is to do the fashion challenge, which is what we're about today. We're going to meet, plan our fashion designs. 2 days later, we'll come back, we'll meet again and tell each other how we did. Another way you can participate is if you want to talk about collaborations that indie fashion designers can do. And we have a meeting for that the first week of the month. And the third week of the month, if you just want to chat about your biz and how your biz is going, maybe set goals, maybe talk about clients that have been troubling you. That's what we do the third week of the month. And the fourth week, we kind of take off and rest. And today, we have Clara Berg here. And Clara Berg is the curator of collections at the Museum of History and Industry in Seattle, Washington. And in addition to managing the museum's collection of artifacts, she does research and she gives lectures on the history of clothing and fashion in the Seattle area. And she did this really awesome exhibition that she curated called the Seattle Style Fashion Function. And that's how I found out about her. So Clara, thank you for being here with us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. And we have a couple new designers. One of them is with us live, and that's Sharmon. And Sharmon, do you want to take a minute to sort of introduce yourself to the group?
Sure. So I am Sharmon. I'm a doer of many things. I have my own line, a brand called Blessed Designs, an ethical fashion brand that started out making t-shirts with hemp and quickly realized the crazy amount of waste that fashion creates. And then started repurposing and recycling materials and creating different accessories using waste and upcycling different products. So we've kind of made a switch. I am part of the Rejewel Collective. It's an international collection of jewelry designers that work with like upcycling various products into jewelry and other things. I am also the president of the Ethical Network of San Antonio. It's a local nonprofit here in San Antonio, Texas, and it is a collection of over 100 businesses that are being intentional and purposeful about being sustainable and ethical in their business practices. I guess how it came across Staci too is through the Slow Fashion Challenge, which I am a co-host of. For the first time this year, actually, I participated for the 5 years that they've done it, but this is my first year as co-host of that. And I'm also a writer, and I'm a freelance writer with Tree Hugger, an online sustainable magazine platform. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a ton
I know.
of stuff. That's so cool. That's so
Anybody
cool.
else tired? Because I'm exhausted after.
No, yeah, I mean, just thinking about it, but you're even cooler than I thought you were, and I thought you were pretty darn cool to begin with. So I'm really, really excited, and we're honored that you're here with us today. And we'll also meet Julia Brown, but she pre-recorded a video, so I'm going to put it in when we're talking about our pieces and what we've done. Who wants to go first today?
Okay, my name is Maria Venturini, and I had start doing this label Venturini Couture, and my heritage is from Corsica, Toulouse, and Jerez, and Cadiz, and all of them immigrated to Lima, Peru. So I was born in Peru. And here you have, I have made some, you see here Paris, France, Jerez, more or less the heritage. Lima, that has kind of like a same sensation as Jerez, and Lima also has the coast like the Corsica. But the mountains of Peru, we have one mountain that is called a Rainbow Mountain, but is Vicuña Mountain. And then Machu Picchu, And these are the dresses, more or less, that they wear, the ones in black and white.
Wow.
They are from Corsica, and me dressing up in a Peruvian outfit when I was younger.
Wait,
And,
which one's you? On the middle, right? On the bottom right?
With the black and red hat.
Ah, on the top and on the right?
Yeah. That's me with a native outfit from Cusco called Nusta, that used to be the virgin ladies dedicated to the sun god. And they only attend the soldiers when they come after war, so they can feel wonderful and stuff. So I don't think they were virgins, but anyway. And then the Spanish, and that's kind of like you see in the bottom, that's from Jerez and Cadiz. And I done that dress as part of my heritage before. See, and well, this is part of my family. And on the right upper corner, you see a black and white. That's my dad's mom, Rosamira, and then Maria is the one that you just see part of the eyes and mouth. And then my mom and I, all those are sewers from my family. So that's how I learned my trade. And that's my mom and dad, my grandparents from my mother's side, and then the bottom right are my kids, me and my kids. And let's see. Okay, the colors that I've chosen, and there are most of the clothes, the indigenous clothes in Peru, are the rainbow colors. So if you can see the native, they're dressed up in the nature, thinking the colors from the mountains, those are real mountains, they're not fake mountains. You see the colors like that. So and the textiles is all like geometric figures, you know, there's nothing but everything is metric. All the fabrics are done like they do in Honduras, and you know, they have the same type of textile. They're rich in colors. So I have this two fabrics, but they're kind of short. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do my skirt and my jacket from there. I might do not a jacket, but maybe a vest. I just realized this morning after I just made mine. And this is my #1 sketch for my collection called my Heritage Collection. That's my autumn winter 2022-23.
I have a question about your design. How are you going to make the pattern, which is very straight, go around the neck? I see it going around the neck with a curve. So I'm just curious. I already asked for somebody to bring me necklaces that they are from Amazon seed called Tawa. I have some, but I didn't bring it out here. I will have to go to my room and show you. It's a round seed that some of them, they cut it in slices and they stain it, and that's how they put nice colors. So I'm using, and if using those necklaces, we'll be mixing. My dad, he was born in Iquitos, which is the jungle, the Amazon goes through it, and you know, being in my line, that's my heritage. And instead of using the big skirts, you know, I will narrow it to a pencil skirt and a jacket. And maybe using a purple, or maybe using under it a purple blouse with a bow or something like that. So I'll see many other challenges that I'm gonna encounter, but that's my first sketch. I was wondering if you could stop sharing screen for a minute and show. When I got to interview you for your benchmark video, you had all these new fabrics that are going to go into your collection. I just thought people would love to see some of those, like the silks that you got from.
Oh.
Show
Okay.
us those. Those are really exciting too. I'm really excited there's going to be a whole collection based on your heritage. That just makes me really happy.
This is one that I make, and there's this lightweight cotton twill that I'm gonna do a jacket. I made this pattern, and I'm gonna send it to be printed in a bigger. There's just a sample.
And what's the company that does, you said you could get it on organic linen or silk. What's the company again?
It's Spoon Flower altogether. Spoon Flower. This is another one. This is more like for skirts and stuff, you know. This is more like canvas type of, that you can use it for jackets. This is also, you can do a suit or pants. And this is organic cotton and satin. You can do a dress.
I just love those. I think
And I have order in organic organza or cotton organza type of thing. Yep. So we'll see if I can do blouses and whatnot. And then I have some Peruvian trims that they're gonna bring more to put on the skirts. I don't know. I might put it on the jacket and on the skirt, so they can use the skirts, just a plain black skirt or black pants for anything, so they can, you know, use and reuse. And
Love
like Clara was saying, you know, when she was saying that a long time ago, people, they just redo and repurpose. That's how, I don't know if you remember that I said that my mom used to bring everybody else's, my cousins' clothes, and then redo clothes for me. And that's it. What do you guys think?
I love that. I love all the information you brought together and all the colors and giving us context. That was fabulous. And I like your design. That's going to be fun. Are you using part of the pattern around the neck above the necklace? Or is that all? Was all the design around the necklace, or is part of it also the design of your fabric?
No, is that the necklace is just like a, you know.
It's going over it, but up higher, that design, is that fabric? Sorry.
No, right here. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So then when you take it out, they have a blouse, and it's right here, and it does not go all the way though.
I think it's really beautiful. I'm really excited that it's going to be a whole collection. That's the main thing that I'm super stoked about. And I think that it's smart how much more modern it looks in the shapes that you're putting it into, because it could be a busy and overwhelming design, but you found ways to sort of keep it in the trim, to keep the pattern in the trim areas. I think that's wise.
Let's see. Who's next? Let's see, Elena.
Okay, mine's pretty simple. This is Nuana B Collins. And she, I did not get to meet her. She died tragically, and she is the story that I had to pull an uncle aside to show me her grave site, because they were showing me everyone else very proudly. Her story was completely skipped. I've only heard about it in tidbits here and there and tried to squirrel away the facts. So, but one of my uncles, who was the youngest, had this picture of this dress that she wore as a little girl. So her Cherokee grandmother made her this dress, and she has like these little foxes that are embroidered. It's not perfectly done. You can see the seams aren't straight, but I just kind of fell in love with it because they said it was the only thing she would wear. They literally had to wash it while she was in the bath and give it back to her because she refused to wear anything else. This cream on the side is a silk. My stepmother is, she's Chinese, and they went to China to visit her family, and he picked up the silk. It's been sitting for 20 years because I was afraid to make anything with it because I just loved it. But I don't particularly like white and cream, to be honest, like not on me. So I've been learning all about natural dyes and some of the stuff with indigenous and just period. So this is going to change. And this is a trim from a silk shirt that I have that I may incorporate because I don't like that silk shirt. It doesn't fit right. I used to have this robe in my 20s that I absolutely loved and never wanted to take off. So I thought, oh, hey, we have something in common there, you know, because I was like, well, I'm not going to wear a little girl's short dress. That would be inappropriate. I don't really want the apron either that would be like that, because then I feel like a pregnant woman from the 1950s. So no, not that either. So I was trying to figure out how to incorporate the two. I started working on embroidering that same pocket. I don't know how to embroider on silk. I'm a little bit scared. So I'm curious if you guys have input as far as something else I could embroider that would go okay on this and not damage it. I got the chenille that's gorgeous. So I went to the 1920s and kind of looked at their robe styles, because I thought, okay, well, let's go back to this time period and kind of get something that's more adult, of that time that's fun, that works with silk. And that's the robe I used to have was closer to a kimono style. But I've also been getting into the paints and everything. So I had this one here because of the design ideas on there, and it was more natural, super drawn to nature. And I found this design, which is a pottery design that's Cherokee, and I love the spider. And so I am debating on doing a lino print on the silk after I dye it with avocados. So it'll be like a peachy, pink, kind of a light salmon. And this was my first oops. So I started my experimenting with dyes this weekend, right? This is only turmeric. And then I accidentally dribbled the scouring water over it, which changed the pH, and it turned this hot pink. Kind of fascinating. It did not stay though, because I don't understand what I'm doing. And I went and rinsed it with tap water, which changed the pH back, except when I caught it, I was like, pulling it out. And so there's a couple places that have a little bit of pink, but it did not stay this fabulous. But
vinegar helps set that stuff.
Okay. A
vinegar wash. Yeah, it'll help set.
Well, and I did mordant before it, you know, but anyway, I'm learning and I'm making my mistakes, but that was a fun one. So I had to show you. So that is where I'm at. Let me stop sharing. All right.
Well, I'm the two things that were most exciting to me visually that I just saw, well, of course, your dyeing experiment. I just loved it. I love the colors. And I'm also super excited that you're learning about natural dyes. And I'm going to be coming to you with all my natural dye questions over the next year as you learn. The other thing that I really responded to were the Cherokee images and that spider as a lino print. I also really liked that idea. I have to say that in a 2-day challenge, dyeing and painting and sewing, oh my, I think that I'd scale back your project to doing like one of those things, like maybe instead of a finished project, you're preparing the fabric, or you're doing a test of the lino print or something those all sound to me like a full day of my time, you know, and then patterning and sewing, right? You know, so yes. That's my feedback.
I think and I want you guys' feedback. I've never done this yet. You know how I have a lot of vintage lace that, again, I've scrolled away and was afraid to touch. So I'm like, this is the project. So I want to put some on the sleeves, and it's kind of a light pink, but it's older, right? So I'm wondering if I need to stitch the whole garment together, except for that pink trim that's already pink, dye it all together so that any color is also taken up by the lace. Does that make sense? Because I think that's what people do with lingerie, but I've never done it.
Yep,
anybody
that's
have
a
feedback?
good idea all at one time.
Okay. And then after that, I'll deal with printing or that kind of a thing.
Is the lace silk as well, or?
No, I think it might be a cotton. I'm not even sure. It might be it could be synthetic. I think it will still go to the color if it does. I think it'll still go with it, even if it's not, but I think my threads will be more congruent.
Because mordants you'll use for like the different materials are going to be completely different to get the dye to stay fast. Okay. So that would be the only thing about stitching the whole thing together and then.
Okay. So it may not be the best thing, possibly. Okay.
Who can know?
And I'm super excited about it.
But with the vintage lace, you're almost guaranteed some kind of natural fiber, right?
Well, I mean, even with the natural fiber, like your cellulose, like plant-based materials versus like the protein-based with the animal fibers are going to be completely different as well. So,
I was also reading that silk with avocado, you don't even need a mordant.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Like
so that
protein, like animal-based fabrics tend to be a lot more easier to
This is crazy. I'm like a mad scientist in my kitchen. I have to tell you, I was having so much fun.
Well,
Anyway.
I'm totally fascinated and excited by the dyeing stuff. And if you come back, with just a bunch of dye experiments on Wednesday, I'll be thrilled. So
I'll keep updating you guys.
I'm pretty intrigued by your natural dyes as well. I've been following your whole process, and I think it is pretty exciting. I know traditionally there's a lot of different plants that have been used, and that's something that I'd like to dig more deeper into as well. So it's exciting watching you experiment with it all.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely, I love history that way too. So I've really been delving, and I will post what I can so you guys have the links and can go, follow trails if you want. Anyway. Clara, do you have any tips or insights?
Well, I have no experience in dyeing, but I do know that definitely, that being different fibers, it may, because you could also have the issue of like, it's way more pink on the lace than on the rest of the robe. So I think there's just, that it may be the same color, but reacting differently on the fabrics.
Right.
And then the other thing, I think the time constraint is a concern, but to also look at 1920s pajamas, because there was like evening pajamas. The 20s was like, there was evening pajamas and beach pajamas and like, pants and robe, so that's a fun.
Ooh, that's super exciting. Because I have 2 pieces of the silk that are the same size. And I'm like,
back.
what's the other one going to be? Oh, I know, right? Anyway, get lost in Pinterest again. Thank you.
Oh, I have no idea what my heritage is. As far as I can tell, I'm a white German French person with a very large nose. Where it came from, no clue. But I put this sweater on this morning. This is something I've been making with my mother for forever. So I'm calling this my heritage. And I have this Parsh's piece over here.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I see the inspiration of your sweater reflected in that crochet.
Yeah.
What's your techniques?
Crochet. It's just all crocheted, but I've been doing it since I was a small child. My mom taught me, So I'm figuring, okay, this is heritage.
Yeah.
So I thought a skirt with maybe some sort of crocheted top. A small crochet top. 2-piece. Anyway.
So are you going to take it from what you've already made, or are you are you going to?
I'm going to finish
this
this
the technique? Piece. Okay.
I'm going to finish this piece.
Okay, but is it? My question is, when you crochet, do you crochet the pieces together, or do you crochet a big piece and then treat it like fabric, where you cut it out and sew the edges together and then sew them,
a little bit of both. I kind of crochet a shape that's close to what I need, and then I sew it into the shape.
Brilliant. That was my question.
That's cool.
And you have to line everything because this stuff itches.
What kind of shape is it's a top? Is it going to have sleeves? What kind of top?
No, I just figured a halter top of some sort, maybe with a lace bottom sort of thing on it. 2-piece should work pretty good, and I could maybe keep up with you guys.
There's no keeping up. I wanted to suggest for people, because you're just making me think of this right now, and I thought of it during Elena too, but I don't know. You guys know I use croquis. Like, I'm not a drawer, and croquis do you all know what croquis are? They're basically pictures of a person on the internet, and you take a piece of paper that's sort of transparent, like typing paper, and you put it on top of the printed image of the body, and then you can just draw clothes on a body. It makes it so much easier. So I just wanted
Unless you don't know what you're doing.
Well, that's what the sketching process is about. I usually throw out about 2 or 3 for every one that I actually finish. I'm like, no, good. I don't want that line to go. No, that should go lower on the boobs or whatever.
It just changes as it talks to me.
That's a great process. I love that.
Yeah, you start with an idea, but never the ending product is the same as the sketch. I mean,
good.
In my case.
Well, I think that's part of the story too. That's part of the fun of meeting now when we're at the beginning, because we want to see what people learn and how things change. So it's nice to like know what was in your head at the beginning.
A huge jacket.
Nice. And now it's a halter top. See, now I think that's economy of effort. We went from a huge jacket to a halter top. Yeah, that's what we can get done in 2 days. Very good, Denise. You always put a smile on my face.
Well, who's next?
Sharmon?
I like Maria nominating people. After Sharmon, I have Julia. So we'll look at her little video.
I was like, I'm not participating in the design challenge this month because of the Instagram challenge.
Right. She's here to become part of our group, but this is
okay.
I'm a voyeur.
If you look at her YouTube note, she said, I'm here and I'm gonna, but I can't do the challenge right now. And believe me, she can't. Just trying to keep up with all of the posts, and I'm not even the one, I'm just commenting on them. It's like, wow, lady, you're working hard. She's probably Instagramming while we're here chatting. Okay, let me play Julia's video for you.
Hi, so I'm Julia. You can find me over on Instagram on Tatty_moo.
Everybody can hear her?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay.
I have my own website, tattymoo.com, and I make clothing and accessories from dead stock and secondhand textiles. I'm based in the UK in a small village called Haxey. It's a really, really very, very old village. My husband grew up in a village nearby, but we met in London many, many, many years ago. Little fact about me, I was actually born in Texas in America, Dallas, Texas. My dad moved around the world quite a lot for his work. We do have family in America as well, on the East Coast. My brother lives in California with his wife and 3 children. I have family in Australia and family all over the UK as well. My lineage is quite mixed. My dad originally comes from the south of England, and so does my mum, but on different parts. So she's more southeast and he's more southwest. And actually, randomly, I've been working on a family tree for them. So I have a woodcut laser, so I do accessories and jewelries and signs as well. So I've been working on the parental lineage of my mum and dad. We've only gone back so far to my great grandparents, who actually live in America. Well, lived in America, not anymore. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about my heritage piece. So I don't like to get rid of anything, and I keep a lot of things. When I had my son Charlie, who's going to be 8 this year, I was given a lot of my old baby clothes and baby bedding as well. This is a blanket that my mum quilted and embroidered when I was a baby when they were living in Dallas. There's lots of pictures of me laying on this blanket. My son has had it since then, and unfortunately it has some stains on it that I've never been able to get out, next to the butterfly on Bambi. So I think this is a really good, lovely piece, and I think perhaps I might be able to make a coat out of it. We shall see. But then also I have my christening gown. Now, we didn't christen Charlie. We had a naming ceremony instead. I believe that he needs to find his own religion, his own path. But he wore this. So I'm a big fan of gender neutral, gender free. This is a traditional christening gown that my mum made again. My eldest brother wore it, my sister wore it, and I wore it as well. Charlie was a little bit chunkier when he was a baby, and unfortunately we just quickly split the sleeve when he put it on, because my mum literally bought it on the day of the naming ceremony. It has a little underlining and a top lining, and I just think this fabric means so much. I think maybe I could incorporate that as well. I generally make like tops and dresses quite casual, so it would be interesting to maybe make something a little bit more formal with this as the main base of my fabric. I'm going to sort of put some ideas to paper and go from there, but I'd love everybody's input as well. And I'm sorry if I've rambled and I've gone on a bit of a cuff. I'm trying to do this just as natural as possible. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to go and thank you very much to Staci for reaching out to me, and I'm really sorry I can't be on the group chat with you later. Take care, and hopefully I'll be able to catch up with you on the next chat.
I just think she's adorable. It totally reminds me of Anne's project because of the quilting and the jacket that she made. So that's one thing I'm like, oh, there's a little bit of a tie in there. I love the meaning of this repurposing this garment that's been in her family. I feel like that is such soulful, wonderful, magical. I just think it's really, really cool stuff. So that's my input. I'm totally curious to see how this sort of, if it can come out as a casual garment or if it comes out as something more formal. I'm just so curious to see what you make. So that's my input.
The fact that it was the christening gown, museums all have too many christening gowns in our collection because that's it's a type of thing people save. It's something special, but they don't know what to do with it. And there's a very complicated process that has a lot of checks and balances in it, but museums can remove things from their collection. And so if anyone wants to start making a collection of clothing out of christening gowns, find out where museums are deaccessioning their stuff, because we have, so many, too many.
I'm glad you said that, because in my head, I was like, no, don't touch it. Keep passing it down. But
yeah, I'm curious to what she's gonna, how her design is gonna turn to be, because sometimes when you don't have a sketch, or I don't know, it gives you so many ideas and how something can be, and I just can't figure how it's gonna do it. But yeah, the Bambi will be in the back of it. I don't know.
I really love that she's pulling all that stuff together and that it's so different. And I think that I kind of wonder if the generations going forward are going to keep using christening gowns, because everything's changed so much, right? And I do love the idea of it becoming something, especially when you're looking at it sustainably, because you're not making something to throw away. If you make it like an heirloom thing from these museum pieces that are being, deassessed, that would be pretty cool.
That's how they wear. I mean, your sister had the oldest one had everything, and the last of the line will wear whatever was,
Mm-hmm.
That's how it happened in my mom.
You're inspiring a whole new thing.
And she was a number 11. Yeah, my mom said, I'm not going to have more kids, just you, because I don't want you to go through, my child, through what I had seen. Everybody had, my oldest one had new in the better clothing, and if she ripped it or something, it will go for the next one. Sometimes I was not even going to wear a little square of what the other one, because it's already gone.
How far down the line were you?
No, not me, my mom.
Oh, okay. But, if you're like the tail end of that equation, the youngest kid, man, they just get the crappiest clothes.
Exactly. We and my mom, the number 11, forget it. After like 7 sisters, what you get? A little square of it just to patch your pants?
I have a question. I'm not sure what a christening gown is.
Oh my gosh. I'm not sure either, and I didn't want to be.
It's what you take your children to church in to get them blessed and holified and get their godparents.
Oh,
you use it for a formal church thing for white folks.
Oh,
it's baptism or christening.
The same thing, your newborn to the whole town.
But it's Catholic, right?
Yeah, so it's not just white.
Not just Catholic.
But yeah.
It's not just Catholic, it's broad
Protestant too.
Yeah, so especially England, the Church of England would do christenings, and even churches that don't do baptism for children, there might be a reception or some kind of ceremony. So it's a fancy dress that's worn by a baby for one
time
event. Yeah. And often they are passed down because they're only worn that one day for the kid.
My heritage is, I didn't really put anything together. So I'm Native American. I'm Colville tribe band, the Wenatchee band of the Colville tribes. My people are originally from Central Washington in the Wenatchee area, but we are an executive order tribe. So we were put onto this little tiny reservation, North Central Washington. And I'm also Yakima Nation descent. So I have family down in the Yakima area as well. And that's on my dad's side. And then my mom is Hispanic Mexican. And I don't really know very much about her heritage or the culture, family, which is something that I really like to learn more about. My sister, my mom, all my aunts and uncles, they all speak Spanish, and I just kind of missed the boat. So, but I also, like on my father's side, I'm Native American, and I kind of grew up like just a lost little city Indian girl. You know, I didn't really know much about anything. I grew up with my mom here in Seattle in the city, and so I kind of took it on behalf of myself just to kind of dig and find my roots. So then I got older and moved to the reservation there with my dad, and it was so crazy seeing like all these Indians, and they're just like, hey, you're my cousin. And then all of a sudden I went from like little to no family to having this huge family. And so that's where I kind of dove into learning my native language. And then I've just been learning as much as I can from the elders, and then I became a language teacher. And so then now I teach the kids in the community and even adults the history and our culture and language and tradition. And I originally started sewing just as a hobby, and then I recently launched my own business, Thunder Rain Designs, and a lot of my designs my products incorporate our traditional designs, real colorful and geometric designs. And so what I'd like to do is create something that's I like looking at old historical photographs and checking out different museums. And the new Burke Museum, their collections are so amazing, like their new exhibits and everything. Like I'm just so intrigued by history and like the different clothing that they used to wear, and like how you guys been talking about repurposing clothing and garments. And I remember hearing a lot of stories from the elders talking about that they use like the different stuff like flour bags, or even the hot poles, like the ropes and stuff. They use those to make different bags and stuff. And so a lot of things were repurposed in clothing as well, like how the clothes gets passed down and made into another garment for the rest of the kids. That wasn't true with me, but like some of my grandparents, they've talked about that. And some good stories and some not so great stories. Like, man, I hate hand-me-downs, and that's why I refuse to give my kids that. I give them the best that I can because I had rags, you know. But then they can appreciate the love that was put into those garments and understand that that was just something that the parents had to do to take care of their kids and clothe their kids. And so just a little brief history. And for me, this was kind of tough trying to decide what I wanted to do for this challenge, but I'm happy seeing learning about everybody's culture and how they're incorporating it into their garments. And for this, I wanted to do a vest. A lot of times it's more contemporary, but you do see vests in like old time historical photos. But I wanted to use Pendleton because that's kind of been my expertise that I've been using a lot lately. So I wanted to incorporate, like, make a vest, and a lot of times you'll see those old style beaded vests, and you can tell the different types of where the different tribes are from by their geometric designs. Like the Crow tribe, you can spot their beadwork and some of their regalia out from afar. And like even the Ojibways back east, the eastern tribes, they have these really pretty floral designs. Or even the Plateau people are known by their geometric designs. And so I just kind of checked out some different vests, but I'd like to like not keep it super simple, but so I kind of sketched this here. Might be a little bit hard to see, but I would like to do like a vest with using those Indian head nickels or even abalone. And then like I was gonna do the front Pendleton and maybe the back buckskin and like maybe have some buckskin fringe. Like I'm not crazy about the buckskin hang down fringe, you know, like you see all crazy, like seems like that's the new fad lately. Like everybody wants fringe on their stuff, and I don't know, it's not really me, but I like to do something similar to that. And then maybe use trade cloth or buckskin on the back, Pendleton on the front, maybe lined with the satin, and maybe around the edges lined with some buckskin as well. And you can use, there's commercial buckskin, or there's like the real brain tan buckskin, and the quality is pretty different, but I don't know, we'll see. And so that's kind of my idea with this, and it's something that a lot of people have been asking me, like, oh, you sew, you know, like I need a vest, I need 5 of them by Sunday, you know, like, so I just thought, well, I'll try a vest. They don't seem very hard, but it's something that I like to get pretty good at making, you know, and kind of add my own little touch to it, so it's not just like another Pendleton vest. So that's kind of what I had an idea. Or I have these, there's this new, they're not really new, but it's this clothing company business up in Canada. They're called 49 Design, and they sell a bunch of different like native design apparel and blankets and clothes and shoes and stuff. But they recently, which is really cool, they recently started selling fabric. And like Indian country is totally going crazy about it right now, because you can't just buy like cool like Indian print. Like you can buy like horses and with like Indians on them, but not really like pretty geometric designs that like Pendleton is known for, like the Pendleton and Pendleton Mills. And so I recently bought a bunch of them, not a bunch, probably like 6, but they have these like really pretty designs. And so they're like really vibrant colors. And so these are what I'm working on right now. These are the purses, but I thought too, like, even if I use some of these prints, like I could make a vest out of this. This is just like regular cotton, but they're really like pretty vibrant colors. And so I was thinking I can either use Pendleton, keep going with the Pendleton theme, or try something with these new fabrics. And another one that everybody's like going really likes is these, we call it a kukum scarf, but it's just like these florals, like floral on different kinds of solid colored background. And so like people have been making skirts with them. They're called ribbon skirts. And so like this would be your skirt, and then it'd just have like a stack of ribbons across. And that's like a super huge thing right now in Indian country. All the women want like pretty ribbon skirts. And so I've never made one. Like I was like, well, everyone else is on that boat, like I'll just keep going on my bags and stuff. So I thought, well, I'll try a vest just so I can get good at vests and try it out. I think for me though, I still kind of struggle with reading patterns. Like it's kind of a foreign language to me. And so like these purses that I've been making, I have a ton of patterns that I've bought of different jackets and vests that I want to make, but I just feel really intimidated by those patterns. Like I think it's just a lingo, like, and so I need like a pattern reading class. And So these patterns that I'm doing have like video sew-alongs. Like I feel like a little kid, like just watching my videos sewing along, but they're really helpful. So
I wanted to jump in and say, I love the idea of the Indian nickel buttons. That just is like, it's something that wouldn't occur to me. Maybe it seems obvious to you, but how do you do that? Do you take like a vintage nickel and drill through it? Is that how you get those? Or
I've actually created some. So there's different shops that sell those. They're already made buttons. And
oh,
I
okay.
can see them on some other people's garments as well, but they just look pretty cool, I think.
I like that, and I'm excited to see a vest. I'm excited for you to, take the challenge of doing something that's not a person. Just want to say that if your first one doesn't turn out good, that's great for learning, and you should, forge on and bring it on Wednesday, and Yeah. We're here to grow. So it's a sign. If you're failing, it's a sign you're challenging yourself. If it doesn't go perfect.
Right. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I also liked hearing about the buttons because there's some Northwest Coast Native tribes that do button blankets. You may know about like using. I feel like having cool buttons on the vest, but then also that you can use buttons for other kinds of decoration, of doing patterns with the buttons. I mean, that's a lot of time. It may not be what's inspiring you, but I feel like there's so many things you can do with buttons.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had another question. You said something about buckskin commercial versus what?
Brain tan.
What's brain tan?
Brain tan is what they originally used, and it's crazy. Like you'll see some really pretty dresses, like in repositories and different collections of how it's lasted for like hundreds of years. And so
they use some kind of, go on.
Yeah, it's what they'll do is they'll take the hide off the deer, then they'll scrape the epidermis. There's like 3 different layers of skin, and so they'll scrape it off, and then they'll start twisting it and working it, and then they'll scrape it again, and then what you do is soak it in a brain. So they use the deer brain, or like now people use like cow brain or pig brain. And what it does is just kind of like softens it up, and it's like a horrible smell when you're working it. And that's why it costs so much. And then you'll soak it for a while, and it's some kind of like chemical, like reaction. And then they'll take it out and then stretch it, scrape it, wring it. And then they'll sew up the sides and then put it on like a little smokestack. And then they'll blow it, so it'll like a small smolder, and it'll smoke, and that's what turns the hide from a white to like a golden brown, and it makes it super soft, and it smells like smoke. And it's
wow, that's so interesting. I'm sure totally offensive to our vegan friends, but so interesting in terms of like a natural process. Because one of the big beefs that we have with beef with cowhide these days is the way that it's processed to get the leathers that people are working with is super toxic, but not what you guys are doing. The commercial version, not as environmentally friendly. That's my point.
I also think the commercial version of things is far less humane because it's about profit and huge margins. So I know with my husband when they did hunting and stuff, and and worked with that, and his grandfather made drums and things like that. There's far more of a ethical appreciation for the animal. That makes sense. I was just going to say, Clara, if you do end up doing a workshop or anything on how historical fashions affect sustainability, or how they could teach us, we want to know. I would love to hear that. And thank you for the resource as well. And one other confession, I was looking at people I would love to have on as a reviewer, and I literally had highlighted you, and I was stalking you for a little bit, sorry. But I was looking up your stuff, and I was telling a friend, and then I went back and read Staci's email. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's a reviewer. So welcome. It's nice to meet you. So cool.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And also, thank you, Sharmon, for joining us, and Julia, our new designers. We're excited to see what you guys do Julia, hopefully you'll be back with us on Wednesday when we're coming together at a more reasonable hour for you. And Sharmon, have good luck with the Slow Fashion Challenge this month and all your many endeavors. And thanks, everyone. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Well, welcome back, designers. We've lost a few people. Maria she had a stomach virus. She sent me a message on Monday, and I'm hoping it doesn't turn into something more serious. So just got my fingers crossed for her. But she's our stalwart, like serious sewer. And I'm not sure about our new people, Monica and Julia. I think they're still trying to understand that we have a second meeting where we talk about, where we show each other what we did. That's the fun part, right? And let's just jump right in and tell us what you did. Elena, why don't you go first since you were here first, and then we'll do Denise, and then I'll tell you guys what I was trying to do and show you what happened, okay?
Okay, so I was doing something based on my grandmother that I didn't get to meet, whose story's been oddly silent for the most part. Using her childhood dress as an inspiration, embroidery that I can't tell what animal that is, so y'all are welcome to vote. I don't know. I could go several ways, but there's kind of fun in that. So I had originally wanted to do the silk, and then got more and more uncomfortable with the whole idea of like appropriating all these things in order to bring in my heritage. And I thought, okay, I could just kind of pull back for a minute. And I didn't have the large pot to dye the silk anyway, so I'm holding off on that one. So I went to the terry cloth outfit I wanted to be able to throw on after the shower. And I just said, because I had already started trying to embroider this animal onto a pocket for that before. So I sketched it onto some terry cloth to start over, because my last one was, one of those mistake ones. So, and I chose this fabric as an accent fabric for the trim around it. And then I cut all my strips to do binding. Yep, still helping. And I embroidered this on both sides. And I did more of a freehand sketch this time, but, based it on the sketch, and it will have an arch on the top here, which will give it a little more shape, and it'll come down the sides. I still can't tell what that is. And it has a little bit of a point down at the base. Like that. So there's two of them. And this is a basic idea of what I'm doing. I'm not certain if I'm going to do the V and back or just gather here, because that would be more similar to what she had, but just something I can throw on after the shower, because then it doesn't matter if it's shorter, but something I can throw my makeup on and stuff while I'm drying off. So that is the plan. And I have these pieces all cut out. I couldn't show you on the dress dummy because unfortunately I broke her right at the beginning of the challenge. She fell and snapped at the neck. So I was super bummed. So I hid her from view too, because it's sad. So
no.
I might be able to glue it. I don't know. It's a plastic cap that holds to the bar, and it's one of those ones from Joann's that changes. I really need to get the fabric one that you can pin into that doesn't break so easy. So that's the second one I've had break. So anyway. So yeah,
awesome.
That's where I was at.
I feel like this reminds me of the Slow Fashion Challenge prompt from 2 days ago, right? About loungewear and pajamas, and I think that I think it's really so sweet that you're bringing in this element from your grandmother. I really do think our ancestry has just super good juju in it, even if it's a complex or dark ancestry. It's like claiming a piece of yourself and taking responsibility for it. So I think that's just the super coolest thing. And I think your embroidery is coming out really, really well. And I'm curious how so the binding just is that bright colored print, and then the terry cloth is white.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's like a cream. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it'll have the binding that'll make kind of almost like a fox-shaped head around the pockets first, and then if I have enough, I'd like to go around the neck, to give it, more of a
so it's contrast. Tied into it a little bit. Yeah,
maybe the keyhole.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, and I have to say, sitting there embroidering, you know, and knowing that my great grandmother had done the same for her, or my great great grandmother, actually, because it was her grandmother and was Cherokee. I don't know. There's just like I was just incredibly happy to sit there and go, you know, what was she thinking about when she was doing this? And if you look at the stitching on the binding, it's all over the place. So it wasn't like this, you know, and I don't know what I'm doing with embroidery, and I felt totally okay with that. It was just kind of fun to sit down and go, I'm honoring this. It's been passed over and I'm honoring it. So it was really healing. This challenge was very healing. It was super fun. So yeah.
And I think that also knowing like this is for you and your personal use also puts the context around it that makes a total sense, you know? So I also like that about it. Any thoughts from Sharmon or Denese?
No, I was like, I really like it. I think it's a lot of fun. I love that you're giving, you know, a hand at embroidery. Is this the first time that you've done that? Or?
Well, except the practice one that I tried, because I actually bought the chenille that was just gorgeous to embroider because it looked so pretty on that with the color. But then I thought, I don't know how that's going to wash, you know, like chenille, you know. So I thought, well, this is going to be probably a pretty highly washed fabric. So I don't know if I'm going to do the chenille on Eddie, although it looks so cute together because of fuzzy and stuff.
I have a Chanel throw. I have a couple of them, right? Because I was like, oh, such luxurious fabric. It's very, you know, like aughts. Right. But I've washed mine a couple times, and that's not a happy moment. Like that shit just gets all over. Like talking about microfibers in the ocean, it's just like it just disintegrates. So it's not, if you wash it, I would hand wash it, line dry, like that would help a lot with that. But I've learned the hard way, don't throw that in the washer and dryer, which for me is like, okay, well then I'm not working with it because it's just too hard.
Yeah, I think I'm transitioning over to drying a lot of my stuff on a rack. I'm actually hoping to get one this month because I'm making so many things that will end up being hand washable, and I'm kind of enjoying that process. So that's been kind of interesting.
Doing great. Embroidery is not an easy project.
Super. Do you want to go next?
I haven't done much. I've been busy making cushions for a customer. I'm still back here with the skirt, trying to decide whether it's white or brown for the top. And what am I going to line it with? Red?
I like red for a lining.
Yeah, because I have to line everything. So red looks kind of good.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Brown or white top
It's
with red trim.
If the white top might help, you know, things are bigger when they're white, and it might help balance out the fullness of the bottom because there's a lot going on with the bottom. So I don't know. My inclination's towards white, but what's the shape or design of the top? Okay, I think we might have lost Denese for a little bit here. Okay, you guys. So this is dorky, but we're gonna do me then. I'm actually stoked about what I made. Okay, so my maiden name was Simpson, and my mother's maiden name was Hudson. So we are, according to Aunt Blanche, on the Simpson side, we came to the United States really early on. On my mother's side, I can tell you that there's Hudson Bay. So that's a pretty old American name too. So we're colonizers, serious colonizers. So I had two options for inspiration. One was to take, there was a little bit of Scottish mixed in with the English. So one was to take Old English and the coat of arms, and the other was to go in the direction of America, apple pie, things that you think of as, on my dad's side, the Simpson side, they were farmers, and you know, they're just salt of the earth kinds of people. So I had a couple options, and this was fabric, and these were a pair of jeans, which is ultimately what I ended up choosing to make. They're motocross inspired. This is an actual picture of the motocross pants that I was like, hey, maybe I could make something like that. You know, so I had an old one that is half torn up, and it's like a puzzle piece. This is a close-up of the sketch. So my thinking was that I get a lot of jeans donated when I in my pop-up shop. I take donations in exchange for clothes that I've made. This was a dress. I had a couple prom ideas. So let me just make this one big enough you can see it. So this is the fabric over here, but this was with beading and sparkly fabric. The prom dresses really weren't inspired by my heritage at all, but they're inspired by something I want to do. So I was just going with it. So another prom dress idea. So these were all in competition for what could I make this month, was to take that fabric and, you know, stick this big thing on the front and make a dress. And what I learned from my focus group of 3 teenage girls is that the teenage girls, even for prom, don't wear long dresses anymore. I had no idea. I'm in my 50s, right? So that was a really cool education. They all liked the fabric, but they hated that idea. So that was interesting. This was a pretty popular design out of my 5. They also liked this idea. Here's the coat of arms inspiration. And it's a hoodie and shorts prom outfit. So I have this fringe scarf that was donated to me and this crushed velvet tunic, and the top would be made out of the crushed velvet and the shorts would be made out of the bottom. So I think this is fun. The challenge for me is how to applique onto a crushed velvet. It's a polyester crushed velvet. So that made me nervous, and the jeans made me really nervous too, but they were such a popular, people really seemed to like them. My other choice that was sort of just below the jeans and just below the prom shorts, I'll call them shorts, but that outfit was this sort of patchwork skirt. And it's just strips of patchwork rather than side by side, but it was just a flowy one. I have a bunch of scraps, so I'm also working on how can I integrate scraps. I am not actually a fan of patchwork. I like it if it doesn't feel that much like it's patched together, the whole Frankenstein upcycle. I was making an exception because I just really love the colors for the skirt. So those were the competition. The winning design was my jeans. Okay, great. So this is what they turned out like. I think it's awesome. It's got Fashion REBElution on the pockets, because one of the hallmarks of the motorcycle look was that it has logos on it. And it has our little logo down here under the knees too. So this is an iron-on transfer, and it's got like a plastic coating that holds it in place. For the logos, I tried using it on a PVC leather. That was interesting because the PVC, you can't get that hot or it'll melt, right? And this heat transfer was really made for cottons and cotton poly blends. So, and the heat transfers, they're not well transferred. So there's definitely a learning curve that I'm on to make those heat transfers work, because it's peeling back up again. And it says guaranteed for 30 washes. I'm like, yeah, we're not even making it through the washer and dryer once. So, so there was the learning of the new materials, and it was a complete mind puzzle how to put those pieces together. And I'm sorry to admit, but both of those legs are not the same. If you look on the inside seam, at one point I was spiraling around to attach things and the other leg was all right angles. So I really, really got lost in that process. So I think, and I had numbered left to right, top to bottom, but I think I needed a drawing with all of the pieces and puzzle pieces labeled that I could just look at, rather than having to look at patterns with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and try and figure out how they looked. I really needed a design that was accurate, and the design that I did was different than what I drew in the picture. So just tons and tons of learning. But I love the concept and I love how they turned out. So I had a blast, and it was 3 in the morning. The waistband's a mess because it's all pinned at the last minute. Like, it's the last thing I put on, and it was like 3 in the morning. I'm like, I just need to go to sleep. So there's lots of pins involved, but that's what I did. I love it. So I'm excited to share it. So thank you for listening. And you're welcome to tell me what you think. Who do you think it would be good for? How can I market or sell it? Should I try and do a size run, or should I park this puppy? I'm going to guess that it's about 10 or 15 hours of work to make if the pattern is already put together. So that price, if I was going to sell them, that's like in labor, you know, about, I don't know, let's assume it's 10 hours, that we have real professionals here. That's like 15 an hour. Yeah, it's $150 in labor to make them, right? If I was doing minimum wage in Washington, that's not materials, and that's not sales or profit margin or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people would like it, but that's just to make it.
But jeans are pretty expensive if you get jeans that are made of quality, and those are like fun. Like, that is a really cool concept. I loved it. And I wonder if you would screen printing do better for you with that than an iron-on? It'd probably take longer though. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think the setup may take a little longer, but it would definitely last longer as well. I mean, and the other option, of course, is like a linoleum stamp.
What's a linoleum stamp? You mean like my...
I'm making those. I'm learning how to make them at the same time. Yes. So fun.
Sorry,
so
okay, I was just asking what they are. So
totally
tell me a little bit about a linoleum stamp.
I'm gonna let Sharmon do that. I will grab the materials and show you.
Okay. I was like, are you sure you don't want to? But I'll explain why you grab. So it's basically like you're making your own stamp. The linoleum is just a similar material to rubber, and you would basically create like your little pattern, kind of like you did with the PVC thing. You know, cut it out off of linoleum. That's what I'm saying. It's a little labor intensive, like to get the scalpel, create all this thing, but then but it's something that you could have for like ever, and just like use whatever specific paint or ink that you need.
Could it be laser cut? Because like a logo is such a...
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think it's just a matter of finding, somebody that can do it for you.
Because I know I have a friend that has a laser cutter, right? No, she has a 3D printer. She had access to a laser cutter, but there's a place called Makers in Seattle where, you can get a membership, and then you can go in and do your laser cutting, but you can't do PVC, right? Because that you can do leather and natural fibers, because you can't generate, toxic fumes, right? So that's a limit. But rubber would probably, it's a natural fiber. You probably could cut rubber, right?
So it's rubber-like. I don't think it is actually.
Oh, we don't know. Okay.
Let me figure out exactly what it is.
Oh, Elena,
do you have it?
I've got more than one kind because I'm learning. So there's softer ones, and this one has like the foam sort of behind it. You can also have it, once you're better at it, you can have it mounted where it has like kind of a wood thing in the back to, stamp with. I don't know what I'm doing. This one's super soft because this is supposed to be your beginner thing. It almost looks like a little notepad, but, for carving. These are your regular linoleum. So you can see they're flatter. Yeah. So anyway.
So it's linoleum. Could I take an old linoleum tile and make something that would work?
I'm guessing the finish on a linoleum tile might make it to where it doesn't grab the paint the same, but I'm not certain because this doesn't have the, when you clean a floor, how there's a certain finish so it's not porous or whatever. This doesn't feel like it has the same texture. And these are like $1 something or whatever, up to like $4 or whatever. You can get them even cheaper if you want to use Amazon. You can get them.
Oh yeah, it's not cheap. I just have a bunch of linoleum tile that I never use, so I'm thinking I don't trash fashion out of it.
I know.
Could I find a use for it?
Right? Because how many scraps of linoleum are sitting around? I mean, I thought of that too. I would not be surprised if there's a way you can do something, but I do know this feels different texture wise.
Yeah, well, definitely I'd want to find a better solution to that. But I was excited to experiment with I think if you had a heat press, then you could do a great job with that. It still has a little bit of plastic on top of it, so the possibility of ironing those jeans is a no-go. But it is anyway because of the PVC leather. That's something, even from the back, I had a few things melt. And when I, iron PVC, I do it with like a piece of paper and an iron to protect it. And even then, you have to be super careful. So it's like there's a little thin layer of plastic over your stuff. So I feel like you can't ever iron that. Not that people iron jeans, but for a runway show, yeah, I probably would. Or a photo shoot. Maybe I'll shoot them on the 18th. Okay.
Yeah, I love that concept. It's super cool.
Yeah, it is really great. I liked it.
Thanks. Yeah, so I don't know about, I'd like to come up with a much simpler product for my first, set of products. Like I'm working on shirts, t-shirts, something a little more accessible, more affordable to make,
I mean, in all honesty, I think it's who you market it to. One, I know you want it to be a little more accessible. Who you market it to, I think, is going to be important. And I think just the, uniqueness of the product itself would be great. Because I've paid $150 for some handmade, like hemp pants, and I know it would cost a little more because that's just labor, not materials. But that's what people are paying.
Well, another thought on my part is like to maybe send them to a celebrity that cares about the environment and get the press benefit and exposure from having them worn by somebody. But I don't, I'm not quite.
So I was like, that has its pros and cons because.
Yeah, talk to me about
my plan too.
So I'm like, it's definitely a pro as far as. What's the word? I'm like showcasing your stuff and bringing you exposure, but it can be a con because if like too many people want it and you cannot produce quickly enough for like you kind of have to be ready for that exposure to actually work for you.
Excellent point. Yeah, I'm definitely not ready. Yeah, I think I need a much simpler product to start with, but this is I'm definitely a portfolio piece. I'm really, I feel like there's a lot of potential there. It also needs somebody with way better construction skills to kind of help me work out some of the,
maybe farm out some of the pieces a little bit here and there to do it if you're going to go mass production.
Yeah, and also just get some coaching. Like it's not ready to farm it out because it's not resolved well. Like when I'm spiraling up one leg and going down the other, that's not a construction order. That's not anything I couldn't give queer, even with video, I don't even think I can repeat it. It's going to be like a discovery process when I make it again. But I love it. Thanks you guys thanks for celebrating with me. Cause really I'm just like, you could tell me you hate it and I just would not believe you. And I like it when that happens because I crash and burn as much as when I have successes here. I've had some pretty good crash and burns here. Okay.
I also think it's fun to have a couple items at least that are higher end too, that show because you have some really fun design concepts. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to only have the really low cost stuff for you. I really don't. Your mind comes up. That is really cool.
That's great.
So
but I'm also excited to have people wear things. And I for most people,
right.
even $30 or $40 for a shirt is a lot, Fair.
So maybe you wouldn't make as much of it, but I still think it's worth having. So I think there are going to be people who are like, I want that. So, or you let them contact you via seeing it as an editorial shoot or whatever, and then but whatever. Especially if you enjoyed making it too, it's really a showcase.
Yeah, actually, no, I enjoy inventing things and then I really want other people to make them, but I'm happy to do the work that needs to be done.
Ideas are fun.
The first time is more fun, even though it has the frustrations with it because it's like, oh, could this work? And then you find out, and that's when it works. It's a super big high.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you guys, I think we can have a short meeting. It sounds like we've seen everybody's work, everybody that's here. And okay, let's do a round of what you guys are excited about. Who wants to go first?
Can I start? Because part of the reason why I didn't get as far in the challenge is because I'm also finding my master artist to do the natural dyeing and reading natural dye books and like contacting all these people. And so, yeah, I'm thrilled. But I don't have someone yet, but I did get another really good connection. Yeah, anyway, it's looking like it might be a go. And
I got very excited about doing a group collaboration where like maybe you dye and Yannick prints and, you know, like some kind of just that we're all developing different skills. I'm not sure what my skill will be yet, but I got really excited about that idea. So I'm excited about, Denise, will go to you or Sharmon next, but I'm going to leave you with, I'm excited about the photo shoot coming up. When I know that people are showing up and I need to make them look good, that is inspiring to me. And it also gives me a deadline for sort of finishing off and polishing things that I'm ready to show. So that's what's exciting to me right now.
Well, I'm pretty excited about my new project. I got to crochet something. That's okay. I've just been trying to get through life, man. Excited. Life is exciting. It's every 10 minutes, I got something new happening. So that's about my best.
I guess what I'm excited for is like creative adjacent, maybe. I'm excited for some rest, really. That's what I'm super excited about. My birthday is actually at the end of the month, so my family's coming to visit, so I'm super excited about that and getting a time to just to relax and lay back and refresh my mind and come back a little fresher in June. So
I'm excited for you to get some rest too. What day is your birthday? My dad's on the 31st.
On the 29th.
Oh, right next to him. Right on. Yay.
my daughter's the 28th and I'm the 22nd. So we're loading up the month.
We're going to have lots of birthday parties at the end of this month. And I'll see you guys all next month when we do nonprofits.